So welcome everybody to the second hour of Mind Shifters Radio. Today is Thursday, March the 11th, 2021, and our call-in number is 563-999-3581, and press 1, and that puts you into queue to talk to us. We'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. While we're waiting on Michael to get dialed in, I'm going to go ahead and turn on 760. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hey, this is Ann.
Hi, Ann.
I was just going to chime in with Dr. Tim. He was talking about time or the absence of time but it reminded me of Michael's thing when he talks about the kids, the students, or the research or whatever successful children or something, but that they had plenty of stare time.
Right, that what they discovered was that the ones that were brilliant and happy had plenty of blank staring time.
Right, and so when Dr. Tim was exploring the thing, because of the phrase that Byron Katie, which I'm only familiar with her because, I've heard him and you guys talk about her, but the thought about, what happens, and I guess more recently I realized the only reason I know that time has passed is like photos or comments in my journal, or devotionals that I still have that I kept and, going through them instead of, buying new ones. And I go, so to plan for 5 years or 10 years, how can I do that? It's like, it's just this day. So I think I'm getting more of a sense of, okay, it's just this moment. It's just this day that I don't know. So I don't know what you can add to that, but I found his talk fascinating as always.
Right. Well, what comes to mind always when we talk about, planning for the years ahead or whatever is when I went to college, I had a planner. And from the beginning, I had the plan of graduating in 3.5 years instead of 4, which I did. But so I kind of marked out, I know I've got to take this many classes of this and that many classes of that, and kind of laid out, this is when I'm planning to take it. But then I only set goals for the next waking period. I didn't set goals to graduate. I didn't set goals to complete a class that I just started, because I can't do that in my next waking period. So, you can have the planner, and it's just you don't want to set it as a goal to take up your resources until you're ready to put action behind it. And so, you could plan what you're, going to do, what you're going to do for vacation for the next 10 years or whatever. Just don't set it as a goal. And then it doesn't run up your resources, and you're allowed that blank meditative staring time. And Michael is with us now. The conversation has been on time.
Yeah. Well, I was going to offer that. And the difference is, a plan is, this is the vision I have for my life where I choose to create going. A goal is, this is what I'm going to do today about it. So the vision is always adjustable. The goal is always adjustable. If I find I'm under too much stress, I can always cancel this goal. If I decide that, I'm going to go in a different direction, I can change my goal. But when you set something as a goal, this is what I am going to do, very much like a computer, when you start another program in your computer, it uses up resources. You open your let's say your dialer, and that uses a certain amount of memory. And then you open your email program, that uses more memory. You open your CAD program, that uses more memory. You open your Photoshop program, it uses more memory. All of a sudden, your computer won't run anymore because it's used all of its memory. It crashes. It has to be able to move things around, and there's nowhere to move things around. Well, the human mind is very similar. There are certain resources that we have, and you conserve your resources. And Yeshua was brilliant with this when he said, sufficient for the day are the evils thereof, although you wouldn't know it by reading the Greek translation. When you go to the Aramaic, that word evil has the meaning of those things which are incomplete, or it actually means unripe. So I'm not finished with this particular plan yet, so it's unripe. Am I going to do something with it today? I set it as a goal. Am I going to do something with it next week? Then I just leave it in my planner and I don't touch it. Now I have all my resources available for what I am going to do today, and I'm going to tend to be more powerful at producing that result. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So then the difference between like the stare time, so when I realized that, well, the only reason I know that time passes because of, something written down or a photo, but sitting out on the back porch and looking at the sky and just kind of like not even paying attention, no phone, no, clock or timer, watching the sky and observing that the clouds are moving. I mean, is that even time, or is it just that the sky is still, I don't know. I just found myself just like time passed and I didn't even pay attention to it because I was so absorbed with just watching, the sky.
I would say
nature.
That's your rejuvenation. That's your rejuvenation time. Make that part of your plan and part of your goals on a daily basis. I need time for rejuvenation. Take a day a week. I had a still point session that Jeannie guided me into last week. And as I was going through that still point session, the idea of a Sabbath came to my mind, and how so many people talk about a Sabbath, and you're not supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to work, and you're not, in really strict Jewish circles, you don't even turn on lights, you don't do any work. And it's all about what you don't do, but what they forgot to talk about was, here's what you do. You get quiet, you take a breath, and you let yourself be in the presence of love. And you let yourself function out of love. You're not running around doing. And yes, we have this thing called a clock that passes or measures the movement of heavenly bodies and such, but, plan and set goals for time to take care of yourself and be in stillness. For me, this radio show is one of those times. It's one of those times for me. This is a space where I get quiet. I usually put my hand in this little machine called an Everson, and I let my body just relax and let go and just be with the conversation that we're in. For me, that's rejuvenation time.
Right, and for me, I am learning. Okay, then I don't have. Wait. Okay, stay out of the dome. I then am more aware of that there's. It's hard not to get the done in it. But I don't have to perform for anybody. I don't have to be at a certain place. I don't have to follow somebody else's rules. So something outside of me is running me instead.
So you just outlined about 20 worksheets about being controlled. So, and notice your mind has difficulty to going to the other side of that conversation because you don't have brain cells for that yet. So if you just think about it for a minute, if you took everything you said about what you're not going to have happen and what you're not going to do and what they're not going to do, what would the opposite of that be? What would it be that you really want to create in that situation?
My time, my spare time,
I'm going to have time for me. I'm going to have liberty. Oh, what a radical idea. I have the liberty
that's a good word.
Choose to do whatever I choose to do. As opposed to resisting and fighting against somebody controlling me, which means I have some forgiveness to do around being controlled.
Right, which is just part of, the other stuff that I'm working on anyway. So, with our person thing. So, it's so much less, like you said, it's just so much less stressful just to allow myself to just get quiet. Which I am working on. God's been working with me for quite a while, and I'm getting better at it. But it takes a lot of practice, and it's like you've said before. I think you've said that before. Pattern for so long that I'm getting better with being patient with self because it's been there for so long, and and to quit expecting that it's going to happen yesterday, like some of us, wanted to do early on.
Yeah.
And be okay with that. Being okay with that. But it's going to take what it takes. And notice the voice in your head that says, but you should be. That's the voice you want to forgive. That's the voice you want to remove. So, right. Well, switching from being a human doing is becoming more aware that
big project.
Being a human doing is doing what the world wants. So if I come back to what God wants, it's a whole different ballgame. Get quiet. Yeah. Anyway, so the time thing, yes. So really, scientifically or energetically, is there really any time? I mean,
well, of course, there's a big philosophical discussion, but you and I are going to talk about what we're going to do tomorrow, which indicates we have a belief in time. And I think that's one of the lesser ones to be concerned about.
Okay. Yeah.
That'd be my thought.
Just whatever this next moment brings, that's what.
A mouse contemplating the moon isn't going to make much of a change in the mouse's life. Us contemplating time isn't likely to make much of a change in what we do with our lives. But when I realize I'm being driven by hostility or fear, and I choose to take responsibility for that and change it, that makes a major difference in our lives.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's the more important thing than.
Cool.
Then having
all right, young
somebody
lady, any other thoughts for you?
It's having me set my frame and set things rather than someone else. Nope, that's it.
And if you've never, quote unquote, been in charge of your life, you're going to learn a whole new skill. And, you might look up and see if there are college courses on managing your life. Maybe sign up for a college course on, learning to be in charge of your life. I don't know, but I could only imagine there must be courses out there like that. And somebody sat down and said, what does it really take to do that? If somebody's been controlled by somebody else all their lives, then what does it take to do that? And then to develop relationships based on that practice where you do get to manage your life and you do support people who are managing their lives and you get to interplay and you get to negotiate and you get to be the presence of love in those relationships instead of, the old games of the non-being mind.
Right, which is why this community is so important, and the support it's different than the world support or what the world
definitely
says.
Hopefully we're moving in a much different direction than most of the world.
Yes.
For
Amen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Amen. Amen and a woman. All right, young lady. Appreciation. Okay,
Thank
blessings.
You. All right. Bye.
All right, Miss Jeannie. I've got a book here to read from, unless we've got another hand up.
There is not another hand, so go for it.
Well, then let's go for it. We're on the chapter, What is Projection Externalization? And we've been talking to Richard about whether you live in the meanings that your mind is brainwashed to give to life, and you blame others for that, or if you live the meanings that your mind has given to life, you take responsibility for that and stop pretending it's somebody else's. It may have been sourced by someone else, but the truth is you're the one who accepted it and went with it. And when you change that, you collapse this whole projection externalization game, and you get to live in a different space. So that's kind of been our conversation with Richard is, and what meanings do you live within? When there's the paragraph that we finished with yesterday, when there's a distortion within the mind, we live within its meaning. So if I'm living in a distorted world, then how does it benefit me to do that, to live within that meaning? When I recognize, here's a great lesson from the Course in Miracles, one of the early lessons that Dr. Tim covered earlier this year. I have given this all the meaning that it has for me. And when I realize that I've given whatever it is all the meaning it has for me, then I can undo that meaning and I can give it a different meaning. I can change that. But I can't change it as long as I'm blaming somebody else. If I think that the perceptual construct in my mind is outside of me, and let's say if I've got a meaning in my mind that's filled with hostility or fear, to believe that that meaning is true, or that my mind could possibly give me sane input when it's in an insane flow of energy, is a pretty bizarre idea. And it's interesting, over years of doing this work, how many people I've watched, and their minds, I mean, they're locked into some sort of hostility-based or fear-based perceptual construct, and they actually believe their minds are telling them the truth and giving them good data and giving them good guidance. Ever want to live within or believe the context of a mind that's fueled by hostility or fear? They're the things that you want to be about forgiving in order to change the dynamic where your mind functions fueled by love and you live in meanings that are framed by love. Changes everything. So the next paragraph, we start out with Richard and we say, denial keeps the true source of our pain hidden. Remember, our definition of denial is when I think or speak as though something outside of me is the cause of something inside of me. And, you know, living in the question can be a powerful place to be, because there is a teacher in you that will give you every correction that you need. When you take that word denial, correction I received several years ago. And for those who've been involved in my work for some years, you might remember up until, I'm not even sure, maybe 8 or 10 years ago, when I started to do the Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop, there were always 3 words at the top of the board. There was denial, suppression, and projection. And literally, one day I'm sitting, contemplating and writing up a set of notes to present the Why workshop in a different way. And it's almost like, you know, I get this tap on the shoulder, and this internal teacher says, no, Michael, it's not suppression. And literally that moment of teaching, because my mind was available to be taught, that moment of teaching to me created like a major upgrade in the whole understanding. It's like everything changed in just a minute, literally, in that minute. In fact, I was reading a piece from Helen Schuckman, who was the scribe from A Course in Miracles. Let me see if I can put my hand on it here. Oh, that's not, excuse me. Just give me a second. And she very profoundly addresses how important just one moment can be. And my phone is a little bit on the slow side here. Just give me a second. I've made a note of this poem and copied it, but the phone's a little slow in getting me there. So the poem's entitled Love, Only Love. And here's what Helen Schuckman, the scribe of A Course in Miracles, wrote in that poem. It happened suddenly. There is a voice that speaks one word. And Jeannie, I think you'll relate to this because you've had a couple of these experiences in the last week or two with the work we've been doing. There is a voice that speaks one word and everything is changed. You understand an ancient parable that seemed to be obscure. And yet it meant exactly what it said. The trivial and large in magnitude, while what seemed large resumes the littleness that is its due. The dim grow bright, and what was bright before flickers and fades, and is finally gone. All things assume the role that was assigned before time was. In ancient harmony that sings of heaven in compelling tones which wipe away the doubting and the care all other roles convey. For certainty must be of God. It happens suddenly, and all things change. The rhythm of the world shifts into concert. What was harsh before and seemed to speak of death now sings of life and joins the chorus of eternity. Eyes that were blind begin to see, and ears long deaf to melody hear. Into the sudden stillness is reborn the ancient of creation song. On silence, bird. By the tomb, the angel stands in shining hopefulness to give salvation's message. Be you free, and stay not here. Go on to Galilee. When you look at that quote from the scriptures, there's Yeshua speaking to those that were hung up on the tomb. And Yeshua says, I'm not there. It's not what it's about. Let it go. Go on to truth. Go on to the next piece of your life. And it's amazing. Jeannie shared a couple of insights that she was given, much like that one where the word suppressed in the Y workshop was changed to dissociated, and how it changed everything. And being in the space, being prepared to receive those moments is monumental. Being in the receptivity, and how in those moments the presence of actual active love reorganizes everything, and things that yesterday were important, they're like a joke. Things that maybe seemed important all one's life become silly, and a whole new meaning appears. And that's the sort of space we're looking to cultivate with this work, to support that each individual can come into that receptive space to be touched and allow, a total, literal, when you think of things on an energetic level, a total reorganization of everything that was inertia bound in the ego's direction, being able to be turned around to a higher purpose. Does that resonate? Any thoughts for you, sweetie?
It's absolutely amazing to be in that open space to hear the message. Oftentimes, I think we're being told, but we're so busy doing other things that we don't hear it, or we just brush it off as, our own thoughts or something, instead of actually taking it in. We did have a hand just go up.
Sweet. Let's say hello.
828, you're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, this is Magda.
Hey, lady.
Welcome, young lady. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
It's been a while
yours
since you've been on the show.
Okay, well, I've been trying to listen every day. Anyhow, I have a question for you that I know you can answer, and I get totally confused by it. Your definition of denial. There we go, denial.
Yeah.
Thinking and speaking as if something or someone outside of us is the cause of what is going on within us. Is that right?
Right. That's it.
Okay, so where I get confused is when I actually know it is something within me. It is something in my carbon-based memory or ego, whatever you want to call it. And so I know it's not outside of me. I know
Right.
it's inside of me. Help. How does that work?
Well, my offering would be that when I'm in that state, what I've come to realize is that while I know it's inside of me and it's mine, one, there's still a part of my mind that holds the old denial, dissociation, projection, and blame game. That's one thing I think that can create the confusion. The other one is that it is so overwhelming to think about taking responsibility that I go into overload. And it's really overload that I'm calling confusion, I think. That would be what my take would be.
Let me ponder
and
that a
my
minute.
solution for that, say again.
Yeah. I'm just trying to grasp that. So go ahead.
So my solution to that is, if I'm in that overload or that overwhelm, is to recognize that here I am, one individual in a very long chain of generation upon generation upon generation upon generation. And I don't have to do it all right this instant. I don't have to be finished with this. In fact, I'm probably not going to be finished with it. And I put it into the bag with my patience files. And it's like, well, when it's time for me to be done with this, gee, I'd like this ache or this pain or this, I'd like that to be done today. I want to be finished with this hostility right now. And I move it out of that category, cancel the goal for that to happen right now, and recognize, this is bigger than me right now, and maybe I'm not ready to handle it. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let it be there. I'm going to chip away at it as I can, do what I can to work through it, and carry on with my life. Does that fit?
It doesn't seem to, which doesn't mean anything, because very often later I will get it. So what doesn't seem to fit is that I don't feel overload. I think that I'm in overload. Okay, what came up? I'll give you an example. Last week, I became aware that this happens pretty regularly, that I can be in a loving space with a great deal of joy in my life for, it seems like, 2 or 3 days at a time. And then I will find myself doing the things or not doing the things that I become angry with myself about, because it's taking me out of the loving space into a space of discouragement or anger at myself for letting a carbon-based memory pull me back. And so I know it's me. I don't feel overwhelmed or overloaded. And when I did a couple worksheets on this, one thing that one thing I wanted was my goal was to be able to always feel. Here's the problem: to always feel that love and joy without this was the important part, without having to do anything to maintain. And I really had felt like, I've gotten there. I feel great. This is where I wanted to go, and I'm here, and I'm done. Right? Done. Ha 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 ha. So the goal I had to cancel was to always be in that loving state, always in my higher self, and not have to do anything to continue that process. Does that help define what's going on with me? Because I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, it sounds, Magda, like the only goal you'll need to cancel in that whole scenario is just the goal to be perfect and have all your work done.
You're so right. Yes. Yeah.
So it sounds like a thought disorder about self and perfection that might be worth letting go of.
Yeah. Yes, because that comes up so often. And as I was listening to the first part of our videos for our week 8, boy,
right.
There were a whole bunch of folks talking about that. And so it's a lot of us just believe we need to be perfect in order to be loved, as opposed to just being loved. Okay, you've got your finger on it. Okay. So how do I think about that, in terms of your definition of denial?
Well, my offering would be what to do about it is that I take some time and journalize about those moments where you do have that space. And as you focus on that, because what you focus on tends to grow, you will tend to expand that space into more and more and more of, of the corners in your life where maybe yesterday it wasn't there.
Okay, good. I like that. I think that sounds very usable.
Yeah. And the next thing that you might want to move to, because usually when I know somebody else is at fault, then I know that they're to blame. And that blame will consume me. And it may be that I'm playing out the same dynamic when I find that, it's mine. It's inside of me. This is my quote unquote fault. And I may be moving in the direction of self-blame. And that would be my next forgiveness project, is to alleviate myself of self-blame. And when I realize, boy, I really screwed up, just to be able to say, well, I really screwed up, and now I love and going to move forward.
Okay. That's really important. Because initially I was afraid. In the first worksheet, my emotion was fear that this would happen again, that every time I move 3 steps forward.
And can you make it okay? And remember that lesson, I've given this all the meaning it has for me. So if it happens again, I can give it the meaning of terrible, or I can give it the meaning of there's another one, another bump on the road. Okay, I can let go of that one and move forward as the being that I am. And give it a different meaning by collapsing the old. Okay.
And actually, what I spoke about last night in terms of taking 1 minute out of every hour to go to that the same loving space we go to in the worksheet, that came out of this, my awareness that, oh my goodness, I need to watch what my ego is doing, because that's what leads to my own self-sabotage. And so I need to be more watchful. So I figured that if I could, and what has happened is that when I do that exercise 1 minute per hour, I do find that it's so much easier to go to that same loving space in between those 1 minute. It's just automatic. It's not 100%, but it makes it easier and easier. Okay.
Getting to where you can live there.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you. I have my work lined up for me. Thank you so much. Good.
Well, we join you in that work, young lady.
Thank you. All right.
Blessings.
I will listen. Blessings to all of you and both of you.
Appreciate it. All right. So let's go back to our conversation. Go ahead.
Bob made a comment in the chat room, says, sometimes I am happy and sometimes I am sad, but I am always content.
Nice thought. Nice place to go. Yeah, I don't have to give sadness all the meaning that the world's given it, or pain, and start to weaken those meanings. Good way to say it, Bob. Thank you. Love your insights. And appreciate the listening ear that everyone around the globe gives to the progression of this work. And thank you for your participation. So once again, I'm going to go back to that paragraph we were starting to read from my conversation with Richard in the book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Which, by the way, it's out of print, so you can't order a new one, although once in a while a new one shows up on Amazon or eBay. But you can usually buy one for a couple of bucks on either Amazon or eBay, or you can go to our website and download the book free. Go to the website, there's a picture of the book, click on it, and look at what language you want it in. I think it's on, what have we got, 8 languages now, Gene, I think? So denial keeps the true source of our pain hidden. We, as human beings, are usually taught to externalize and interact in relationships in a way that guarantees a cycle of repeated experience. The first step in keeping that cycle going is to deny any involvement in causing our own pain, then blaming another, and instruct that person in how he or she should change. If they refuse, we're taught to punish them to force change. If punishment doesn't work, we often leave or throw them out of our lives. In doing this, our painful reality is left fully intact, though it is now hidden again. This formula is guaranteed. If you use it, you can rest assured that someone who knows exactly how to access and show you the hidden parts of your mind will soon be knocking on your door again. So that's the end result of denial and wanting to, it reminds me of the old saying that says, the brave die once, the coward 1,000 times. The person who won't take responsibility and deal with the pain in their minds go through it over and over. They can't ever get rid of it because they can't own it and therefore dump it. So it's always blame, blame, blame. They experience the pain. They're blaming everybody else, but they're still the one experiencing the pain. What if we would just take a hold of that little sucker by the neck and say, this is mine. God, I've been through this so many times. I'm ready to be done with it, and throw it out. And of course, throwing it out is quite literally, in Aramaic, the act of forgiveness, the act of removal. So that's the bottom line of what we are here to share with you, is the support for the development of the skill of being able to own every energetic pattern within you that creates pain and be relieved of it. Like, our granddaughter, Adeline, she's now been circling the earth for 9 years, which seems so amazing. But at about 2 one day, she got in the back of the car. We put her in her car seat. We start driving down the road. And she just opens her arms wide like an opera singer and starts singing from Frozen, "Let it go, let it go." It was just so hilarious. We tried to get her to do it again, but she wouldn't. But anyway, it's cute, sweet. So all you cute and sweet people out there, what's on your mind? How can we support you? We are about 40 minutes into showtime, which means we've got less than 20 minutes left, which is time for a really good conversation or two, and we'd love to be of support. How can we support you? What's happening in your world? Have you ever been in the space of having a conversation of blaming somebody else for what you're doing to yourself? There's only one way that you can be in pain, and that is there has to be an energy that is not compatible with love, with life moving through you. Remember, our definition of life is love moving through a cell. When I put an energy in that's not compatible with love moving through my cells, then the cells that are having life inhibited in them give us a shout out, and the shout out is pain. Pay attention to me. Look what you're doing to me. Now, sadly, that's not the way most people's conversation goes. The way most people's conversation goes is, look what they're doing to me. But, of course, as you've heard me say 1,000 times, and I love to repeat, if I've been through it 87 different times with 42 different people, sooner or later, I've got to admit that I'm the only one that was there every time, and that it's mine and it's about me. And when I can own it, I can throw it out.
We have a hand up.
Great. Say hello.
Area code 541. You are on the air. Who do we have? Well, switchboard slow here. Hi. Hi. I'm unmuted. Okay,
hey there, young
good.
lady. Welcome. You're loud and clear.
Great. Well, two things I just want to mention. I talked to George, my friend from Germany, he's an American. He's having a lot of trouble with his health, which you know some of it. And I wanted to call you so that possibly I feel inadequate to encourage him with the Avicen, but I'm willing to drive down and let him have some sessions and just be with him. However, I'm not sure how to integrate all that's going on with him and make sure that it's safe. And I don't want to just I used the word don't. I realize that I'm putting a lot of responsibility on your shoulders when I ask you to take that responsibility. So I'm willing to do some worksheets on his behalf and with regard to what I'm asking of you, if you maybe want to think of a mind shifter or something. That's one thing. And then I need a mind shifter for myself, which is similar, approaching, I'm going to use the word the deadline of my surgery on Monday. And for me, and I
you cut out there for just a second. What was that word or two I missed?
Deadline. The deadline, the time of my appointment is approaching, my surgery. And I know I have residual things going on with me. So something to help me eliminate the fears and calm myself to the most optimal degree that I can be at this point in time. That's my goal. And I'm just asking for help because I feel real unconscious about it.
Okay.
Right now.
All right. Well, on item number 1, I'll be glad to call George and talk to him and let him know you'd be willing to go down and spend some time there and support him. I'll put that out to him.
I told him that.
He posted last night he was back in the hospital.
Yeah, they just keep finding things, and it's getting complicated and layered with more problems, and of course my hackles go up and feel that he's in a forced situation where things are not really supporting him. they're going wrong instead. So I have a little bit of wanting to rescue him going on. And I also know that that's his responsibility. So I'm concerned about him getting the support he needs and wants, because he does have the tools and he is using them. And he says it just keeps getting worse. This is the hardest time he's ever gone through something with regard to his health. Which, just for all the listeners, he's compromised because of injuries he incurred while being in the military. And I can't go into what they are, just like, I feel inadequate. There's my word, too. Okay, inadequate, that to properly represent what's going on with him, and inadequate to properly represent what Michael may feel could
be helpful to support him. So there you go. Right. That's my feeling. Power person. I'm being frozen because I have parents with conflicting goals that I don't know what to do with. That's that. Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, again, I'll call him and have a conversation. Oh, good breath. Yes.
Yep.
And see how we can support him.
Yes. Thank you.
And as far as the idea of getting the lens surgery this Friday, is your appointment?
It's Monday. It's Monday morning.
Monday.
Pacific time. 10 a.m.
So
right when your show is going on.
So I guess I'd have a question. The question would be, so are you on the horn of the dilemma of, am I going to go ahead and do this, or am I going to cancel it? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, I canceled once, and I'm going forward with it now.
Okay. So then you're looking to clear out fear, so you've got confidence in the procedure.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So have you chosen a really good doctor?
Oh, yes. Very good doctor.
So how about doing a mind shifter that allows you to move out any trust issues that you have with this doctor? Mm-hmm. So perhaps a mind shifter might look like, knowing I've selected the best doctor available, I gently...
Hold on. The best doctor available, did you say? The best doctor available? Or okay.
I gently and willingly.
I gently and okay. Good.
Turn the care of my eyes over to her, him.
The care of my eyes. Wow, that's good. Over to him. Yes.
And listen to the guidance I receive.
And do my part. Listen to the guidance I've received. Uh-oh. What do you mean? This will be what I have to write down. And do my part. What does that mean, do my part?
Well, it means that,
I don't know what to do with myself.
It might mean that if you're guided to, maybe bone up on your vitamin D3, so you've got really good immunity going on to protect your eyes going through the surgery. It might mean that you listen and, I'm going to eat a couple of extra oranges each day, or I'm going to take some extra, real vitamin C so that my C is up to do tissue repair and ameliorate any possibility of complications. Just by listening, what's your part in the process? It's not something that's totally in his hands. So I just, step into trust of. He said it was a him, so I trust him. Step into trust with him, and step into trust with yourself that you've got the guidance and you listen to it. And I think back over the years, I listen how many times you've come up with some really powerful insight and information and guidance. And so, listen, trust yourself, listen to it, and go for it. And make sure that you send us a text on Monday morning so we're reminded during the show, and we'll make sure that we bring it up on the show and get everybody just, holding the space for so that he's guided, so he's in a settled, clear, centered place to do the absolute best job on replacing your lenses. And we'll hold the space that you come out with visual acuity that's unlike what you've ever had, just a huge upgrade.
Okay.
So focus on the upgrade. You're going in for an upgrade. Hey, the computer's going to have more memory when you're finished, more capability.
Yeah, I'm opening my seeing brain cells to a new level.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Hope that's helpful for anyone going through something similar, So I'm sure it is. Okay. And
Okay.
I just
Sweet.
finished the Avison. Go ahead. I am complete if there's another caller. Thank you.
All right, young lady. We'll hold you in a blessing between now and Monday. All right.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, Miss Jeannie. Let's see. We're down to about 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, and we do not have a hand up, so if somebody presses 1, we've got time for another topic.
Where are you, person with a hand up that has a question or a thought or would like some support? How can we support you? What can we do to move your life forward? What can we assist you in processing? If we've been in your hometown having this conversation, a platform right there in your village, that the local library or the local community center, the local church, or the local prison, and you were there listening. And when Jeannie and I completed the conversation that we just had, what could we offer you that would give you one of those moments that would support you in having one of those moments that came from that poem, Love, Only Love, being touched on an energetic level that changes, that just shifts everything, just changes everything around. And I speak of that, and I put that forward as a possibility, and I speak it from just a very recent experience as Jeannie and I have been breathing each other and working with each other, and how we were touched by one of those moments. And we want to extend that touch to you. You know what I mean? It's like just, and I'm sure Jean will share the same sentiment, the same thought. There have just been some of those moments where it's like, geez, everything hit an upgrade. Wow, what a gift. What a gift. And we're here to pass that on to you. We're here to support you in that. And the best way for us to be able to offer that is to be able to interact with you. And we would have a much clearer interaction if you pushed 1 and we could hear your sweet voice. And we could share what we have to offer in the way of support, hope, tools, insight. We're just sharing it with you. I forget what the group was, but there was a group that I was reading about recently, and they were talking about how, because of their shared community, their burdens were halved by being shared. And their joy was doubled by being shared. What a cool thought. So what's burdening you? What's on your mind? What can we support you with? What can we, even if we just hold the space for it? What does holding the space mean? It means that I'm going to stand in the space of conscious, active, present love with you, whatever's going on for you. Jeannie's going to stand in that space of conscious, active, present love for you and with you. Whatever you have to share, whatever's going on. And we'll breathe with you. When you realize that we live in an energetic universe in which time and space have no meaning except as a context in which we live, but energetically, where it doesn't matter where we are, the time that it takes for thought to circle the globe is less than the smallest fraction of a second. So what's on your mind? What's happening in your world? if I came down off the platform sharing everything that I've shared today's show, Jeannie with everything she shared, which of you would you be walking, or which of us, pardon me, would you be walking over to and saying, Michael or Jeannie, what about, well, what does that mean? We've got about 4 minutes left to be in that conversation. And if that conversation isn't going to happen, then I'm just going to put out the thought that we are in week 8 of a 14-week codependence to interdependence communication practicum. And we've been contemplating what our next intensive will be. You know, with all the COVID stuff going on, we're not planning to open Heartland this year probably. It's probably going to remain dormant for another season. We have no plans to do anything this summer, and with all the uncertainty that's going on, it doesn't look like the fall would probably be an appropriate place to do anything. So we are going to schedule another intensive coming up when this one is complete, and that will probably look like something like maybe May. I'm not sure yet. And, you know, we have a wide variety of intensives that we do. You know, why is this happening to me again? That includes the forgiveness work from why is this happening to me again, healing through relationships, purpose, personal power, and commitment, empowered to heal, mind shifters, hands-on energy field work, still point breathing, and then teacher training. And altogether, that's a 16-day intensive. It'll be broken up into when we do it as a residential, so that would mean it would be a 14-week intensive online. And so we break that into 2 parts. The first half of it would be the why is this happening to me again intensive, and then the second half would be the teacher training. In order to do the second half, the first half is a prerequisite. So if you've done a why is this happening to me again workshop, then you'd be able to register for teacher training. So let us know if that's something you'd like to do. Or we've also had some inquiries about laws of living, doing a laws of living intensive. And because of the depth of material in laws of living, it may be even longer than a 16-week. I'm not sure at this point. So I'd love to hear from you. What is your interest? And beyond that, we're down to the last minute or so. And we're just going to sign off with holding a space for you to make the choice to create the best year yet of your eternal life, and recognize that that's a gift that you can give to yourself, that you can give to the world. And together, we can change the game.